Hey everybody, today we're talking about Superman's secret origin. Hey everybody, welcome back to BK's Bullets. As always, I'm your host, Brent Casina. Today we're talking more Superman. It is the summer of Superman after all here in 2025. So I figured we'd read and review Superman's secret origin back from, I don't know, must have been 2010. 2010. What's funny about this is that a year later, after this came out, DC rebooted their entire continuity, and Superman's Secret Origin kind of disappeared in terms of being the Superman's origin, so to speak. So this is a book by Jeff Johns and Gary Frank, two Superman creators that, if you've been following the channel, we've done reviews on all of their books so far. This one, I think, is one that kind of stands the test of time, and it covers a large period in Superman's history from when young Clark Kent was a boy, discovering his powers. It reestablished in the DC continuity that Superboy was around in costume. It reestablished that Superboy was the influence of the Legion of Superheroes, which had been missing in DC continuity for a while. For a little bit, it was Mon-El at post-crisis, I believe. I haven't read all these issues, so don't quote me. I was just watching a video of Near Mint Condition on Omar's channel about the 5 years later Legion and how Mon-El, I think, was the character that inspired them. Then you had Barry Kitson and Mark Waid's Legion run that had Supergirl inspire them, I believe, and now it's back to being Superboy, which is the canonical 60s origin of the Legion. So that's issue 2 in here. After he discovers flight or freeze breath and heat rays and stuff like that in issue 1. He discovers he's an alien. It's a really cool, if you don't want to watch 10 seasons of Smallville, this is a great read, honestly. I think the problem with it is that it just kind of gets more simple as time goes on, and as of issue 3, 4, 5, and 6, when Clark goes to Metropolis, it kind of becomes one story, as opposed to the first 3 issues are 3 different stories and 3 different time periods, and it doesn't really move that along in the same way once we get to Metropolis, because the origin part stops after his first appearance in Metropolis, I guess. So that's kind of funky. The artwork is fantastic. I mean, you're talking about Gary Frank at the peak of his powers. He is full on Christopher Reeving Clark Kent. He looks like Christopher Reeve in every single panel. A lot of the most famous Gary Frank Superman images come from this book. He's even got the suit on from the 1978 Superman the movie. The double-breasted suit with the tie. His hair's combed the same way, with the big glasses. Definitely a lot of Christopher Reeve love. So if you're a Christopher Reeve Superman fan of your Generation X or something like that, and you have not read this book, what are you doing? Go out and pick this up. You will absolutely love it. That is for sure. There's some cool moments in here with Lex and how he's kind of becoming a bad guy. It reestablishes that Lex and Clark knew each other in Smallville, although Jeff Johns doesn't go and make them best friends or anything like that. But it does have a little bit of Parasite here. You have Rudy Jones, who works for the Daily Planet and becomes Parasite in the first couple issues. You also have Metallo showing up in here for Superman to battle against. And it's basically the first couple of Metropolis issues here towards the back half of the book are Superman establishing his relationship with Lois. It's Jeff Johns establishing that the Daily Planet was down on its luck, and that Superman and the stories by Lois Lane and Clark kind of revitalized it. The building on top of the globe on top of the building's rusted shut. Superman has a great moment with that. He kind of springs back to life. Jimmy Olsen's about to leave Metropolis and quit until Superman shows up. So it's a lot of ways that Jeff Johns kind of made Superman integral to Metropolis. At the beginning of the storyline, Metropolis is a town that's so narrowly focused on themselves. It's a very narcissistic town. And then Superman shows up, and all of a sudden they're the city of tomorrow. They're looking up in the sky, and you'll see the reasons for that here. It does some interesting things. I think it's just a shame that it came out so late in DC's continuity that it all of a sudden got wiped away. And even to now, here in 2025, are we going back to Superman's Secret Origin as the Superman origin? I don't think so. You still have Grant Morrison's Action Comics out there, which I think are pretty good. But after Rebirth, like, I guess this is still the default Superman origin. All this stuff is still technically in continuity. I think the one thing that it suffers from is that it's not as a complete story as something like Superman Birthright. Before Secret Origin, Superman Birthright by Mark Waid and Lionel Francis Yu was the Superman origin of the time. Like, you had Man of Steel by John Byrne being like the first retelling of the origin. Then you had this one here in the mid-2000s, and this is a phenomenal story. It's 12 issues long. It's Superman versus some Kryptonians that come back. It's a great story. Oh man, my page is messed up. But yeah, no complaints about this one. Like, this is a phenomenal story. I don't know if I did a video on it or not, but at some point I will reread it and probably do an updated video. But this is a great storyline. This one just has, I think it's trying to do too many things, and I think the difference between these two is that at the time, Mark Waid didn't have to establish that Superman was Superboy. Like, that wasn't in continuity. He didn't have to establish that all these characters knew each other as kids. That wasn't in continuity at the time. So this was just Clark comes to Metropolis as a young man who's already established. He got the superpowers, and it moves on from there very quickly. Like, that's kind of all it's setting up in Birthright. Whereas Jeff Johns is trying to do a lot more heavy lifting, kind of reestablishing continuity to what it was in the Silver Age, only for it to get wiped away in 2011 with the New 52 reboot. So it's kind of weird that way. But it's still a good story. I think if you find it on your local comic book shelves, you'll read it. I dare say, having not seen the Superman movie, I would bet that a lot of James Gunn's Superman movie coming out here this summer in 2025 pulls a lot from this. Like, everything I've seen, the tone of the trailer feels very Silver Agey, very All-Star Superman. And from Grant Morrison, this Superman Secret Origin book is in line with all of that in terms of tone and feel. It's nostalgic, it's quirky, it's very retro, and something about Superman, that movie that's coming out this summer, strikes me as that way. Even though if you've seen the Christopher Reeve movies, this pulls a lot from that. If you haven't seen them, this would be a great read. You'll probably love the moments, and if you go back and watch those movies, you'll go, oh, I see where this came from. Oh, I see where this came from. I think that's a lot better, maybe a reading experience that way if you haven't seen the Christopher Reeve Superman films, as opposed to you love the Christopher Reeve Superman films, and there's going to be a lot of kind of rehashes of moments in this book that you might roll your eyes at. So anyway, I liked it. I liked it a lot. I liked it a lot coming out. I liked it a lot reading it again here in 2025. And sometimes you just can't go wrong with Gary Frank art. Like, he's a phenomenal artist. So those are my thoughts on Superman Secret Origin. What did you guys think? Let me know down below in the comments. And as always, we will see you guys next time in the Funny Pages.